Good evening, all. I hope you guys have had a beautiful weekend leading into this new week that we're about to embark on. Hello to the chat. Hello to my moderators. Hey, Bailey. Hi, Miss Marquez. C. Caldwell. Vibes with Tamia. I see your eyes. Hey, Mello, if you're still here. Meta the Great One. Vibrate higher. Hey, BB. Pharaoh. Good evening, guys. Hey, Natural Beauty, Mo Light and Love, King of Treachy, I think. Um, so yeah, this is gonna be such a mellow live. I was just really debating on whether or not I wanted to even do this reaction. And I think that what I'm gonna do for this one is I will probably just play audio instead of playing video clips to kind of reference some of the things that I have to say about the interview that the ladies did on Crumb TV yesterday. I caught most of the interview. And needless to say, I felt that it was very much so deserving of some counter thoughts and some counter um, reaction simply because I do not believe the interviewer did their due diligence. They definitely did not, really do their research before they decided to interview these young ladies. And somebody said in the chat a little bit earlier that some of the views of Crumb TV mirror those of Eligio Nature Boy. And so that would be understandable as well as to why that interview was conducted in the manner in which it was conducted. I just feel like it's dangerous to output certain viewpoints that on the surface may seem as though they're making a lot of sense, and what they're saying is, it's just this is the answer for all of humanity. If only everyone followed this mindset and followed our lead, then all would be perfect and well in the universe. And I think that is just not the case, and especially as it relates to the Black community, the melanated community. And I really want to be careful with my words as well, because I don't want to sit up here and judge harshly. I don't want to put the interviewer down because I don't really know much about Crumb TV, but I do want to. Hey, LMSYT, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. But I did want to respond to it because, like a lot of you guys are saying right now, it does seem like people, especially within our community, are so easily misled. They hear something good and they just run with it. There's no forethought. There's no attempt to really research and get down to the truth and really try to understand where these ideas are coming from and the implementation of these type of ideas. Uh, it's just, to me, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous precedent that interviewers like that tend to set when they don't do their research and they are perpetrating fraud. And that's exactly what it is. It's fraud. And it's okay. For the people that have never heard of Crumb TV, I had never heard of him either until the interview yesterday. But now we've heard of him, and he allowed his platform to be utilized to spread um, a message that sounds good on paper, or maybe in one's mind, but it's something that they don't even implement themselves, because it is just something that, like I said, it just sounds good. It's not even something that they know that they can perpetrate as realistic. All they can do is perpetrate it as a fraud, which is what, Nature Boy has tried to do for years. Go watch the NBA playoffs. I'm This will be here. This live will be up tomorrow, so you can always come back and take a look at it. But um so basically he did this interview with the oh, thank you, cute short me. You're so sweet. Basically, he did this interview with Malia, Aya, Efaru, and Zoka. And he could not stop singing their praises. And it was obvious. I mean, I guess, for most of us women, most of you out there, especially are the feminine presenting women, your pretty face, nice body, nice shape. That's it. That's all the requirement is for you to be valid, and for the information that you talk about to be substantiated, and for you to be validated. You just got to look pretty and say the black man is God. It is absolutely ludicrous. And I think that's probably the one phrase that I probably could live without ever hearing again. And I'm fortunate to, no offense to any of the black men out there, or the black men who follow me, but I don't subscribe to that at all. I don't subscribe to the black man as God. I do believe that we all have we all have some God inside of us, obviously. Especially if you believe that God is the creator, then that's a given. But I don't believe that the black man is God. And if you walk around with that belief system, it's a dangerous belief system, for one, because you can clearly see in your life that there are certain things that you simply cannot control. Okay. There's nothing wrong with believing that you are God, but I mean, show me a miracle or shut up about it. That's how I feel. You know, if you can't perform any miracles, why are you talking? Why are you stating that? It's a very in my opinion, it's a kind of a dangerous mindset, because you're putting yourself in a position that you can't substantiate at from any angle. And if we really want to go there, the black woman and women in general, not just black women, women of all nationalities, of all races, colors, and backgrounds, um, they bring life into this world physically. And I believe it's stated that that's one of the close, it is very, uh, it's a risky thing to give birth. Hey, Max World, I saw that you guys go check out Max V World Media as well. I know that earlier I saw that he was live. Max, I didn't get a chance to watch all of your live because I was on the road, but Max also did a reaction to the interview, and I'm sure that it was good. Max has a lot of commentary, and he has a lot of common sense thoughts and opinions, especially about the whole carbonation cult. Um, and everything that they stand for. So please go check him out whenever you get a chance. But anyway, so Crumb TV, he basically started the live by stating that whether or not he believes that three God um, is right or wrong, or if he does anything right or wrong, his initial thought was, where and how did he manage to get a group of women like this together that will ride for him or die for him no matter what? That's the premise. That was the premise. That was the very start of the interview, was, where did you get these women from? Where did you, and not only that, where did you get this group of women from that'll ride or die for you? Because obviously he didn't do his research. Um these women all came and joined carbonation. Hey, Carla, these women all joined carbonation because they started out on a singular spiritual journey. Um, I believe out of all of the women that were sitting up there, maybe one or two of them came there specifically for Nature Boy initially. And and hey, Mrs. T, and the rest of them came there to be with other people. Two of them in particular came there to be with Solar, and that was Zoka and Eferu. So the fact that he got this group of women together and managed to manipulate them into eventually being with him, eh, doesn't that count for something? Like, why would you want and want to revere a group of women that started out on a spiritual journey but ended up being pimped out, and lied to, and you know, exploited for this man's own personal gain? Energy sapped, Malia abused, battered, beaten, verbally, physically, spiritually, in every way that one can think of. The interview is on Crumb TV, CB. You can go, and I typically don't even send people to other people's platforms like that, especially when I don't really agree with their, with the message that they're pushing. But I know that if you're here in my chat right now, then you already know how we feel about the cult and the message that they push. And so go listen to it, and you will see for yourself what ridiculousness was perpetrated yesterday on that platform. The men, yes, Miss Tiffany, that was what was most alarming to me, and not even really so much so alarming, but just sad. Sad. It's sad because by these men's own accord, not only do they they feel envy for Eligio, they're envious of this man. They're envious of an abusive cult leader. But it's not just envy, it's coupled with willful ignorance. They willfully ignore the fact that he is verbally, physically, spiritually, financially abusive. He's fraudulent. He encourages child abandonment. He lies to his own people. He's manipulative. He commands abuse and perpetrates abuse as well. Um, the stealing of the so-called knowledge and passing it off as his own, the malnourishment, the sexual exploitation. Where is the morality and integrity in that? The begging, the lack of civilization. These are individuals that are kicked out of restaurants and not allowed into nightclubs, of all places. You can't even get into a nightclub, and you are revered for having some type of integrity just because you call yourself a black conscious leader, just because you're walking around with four lifeless, lost women who look decent, but their brains are disheveled and full of mush at the moment, two of which have abandoned their children, their black male children, to join a cult. And these are these are the type of women that these men are drooling over in the comments over there. They consider what they're pushing positive femininity, when what it actually is toxic femininity of the worst degree. He said that their womanhood was firm and fearless, and that they were standing strong within their femininity. He said that they didn't display any toxic femininity, which is exactly what they display, just because they felt that they needed a man to breathe, to exist, and to think for them. This is what they're pushing out in the Black conscious community. Um, and I'm going to be the first to admit that I've never ever considered myself to be a part of the Black conscious community. I really honestly didn't even know that um, there was such a thing as a Black conscious community until I came across this cult, and then everything that surrounded it. Brother Polite, young Pharaoh, and Sonetter, and all of these individuals that push forth this brand of toxicity, unfortunately. So when they say that they can't breathe and they can't exist and they can't think without a man, no one ever questions, well, what did you ever do before you met Nature Boy? How did you survive? How did you live before you met this man? How did you exist? And no one ever asks them that. It's absolutely baffling. It baffles me. And these are women that other women should look up to. These are women that other women who haven't done their research on who these women are pushing this message out. Their story is all over the internet. They have put their lives on public display. They have proudly stated the things that they have done to join this cult, to join with the Legio. All of the men that they have gone through while a part of the cult, only to end up the Legio, because in most cases they came to points where they had no choice but to be with him. It's either be with me or leave. Be with me or get out. And so they chose to be with him because they didn't want to. And a lot of people used to always say, well, that you got, they're lazy, they don't want to work. And I mean, honestly, at the root of it, that is a big part of it, because you can be in a relation, you could be in a healthy relationship with a man, you could be in a healthy relationship with your husband or your boyfriend, and he will willingly be the breadwinner. He will willingly take care of his family. You can choose to be a stay-at-home wife or a stay-at-home mom, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you have that ability and that's something that you want, that's a beautiful thing, in my opinion. But these women are making it seem as though those options don't exist. And then here we are listening to this interview where they're talking about, you know, mixing truth with lies. And this is just something basically that they learned from Nature Boy to do, and to do it well. Just mix the truth with the lie, and see who takes the bait. And unfortunately, it's usually a bunch of men that take the bait, and then a bunch of women who kind of are male identified in their thought process. And male identified women are basically women who think like Malia, Zoka, Aya, and Ephru, that they, without a man, they can't think. Without a man telling them what to do, they can't move. Without a man telling them to breathe, they can't breathe. They can't eat. They can't exist. That is so dangerous. It's such a dangerous mindset. It's such a dangerous ideology. And I want to say that all of these women probably have daddy issues, and they didn't have strong male figures growing up and guiding them, because my father never taught me such things. He actually encouraged my thinking and my intelligence and me reading and me being knowledgeable. And we can sit down and we can talk about anything and everything, and he has always encouraged that self-expression, and having a strong identification, and just having respect for who I am as a person, not just a woman, but as a person. And these women don't have that. Even in exactly, go get it. You don't even need a man to help you foster that. Mothers do it just as well. Mothers do a wonderful job at doing the same thing. I'm not sure, Angel. I don't know if they're gonna be interviewing it, but they probably will. They did open themselves up for interviews, and they're just going on they're going on a tour right now as well. So they're gonna interview with whoever chooses to interview with them and allows them to express their ideology to a larger platform and not talk about the abuse and not talk about the fraud. And I think it's just pure fraud when you are encouraging people to stop working, stop making a living, but to also, in that same breath, to donate to our cause and to fund our lifestyle. These people are facing eviction right now. Okay, they've been their paperwork has been filed for eviction. And as much as True wanted to deny it in his one of his lives yesterday and act like, they're not formally being evicted, they are. They did make a response on the 18th of May, that they weren't properly served. They don't, the landlord doesn't have any actual reason to be trying to evict them, but they haven't paid rent because they need donations. So it is just absolutely ridiculous, and it's willful ignorance when you do interview these type of individuals and you don't do your research, you don't do your due diligence, because if there's no excuse. It's just like when people used to say, you're joining this cult and there are all these videos on the internet, all these different channel holders are putting out their information where you can see exactly what you're going to be in for, but you still go, and then you're abused, and then you have to sneak away in the middle of the night, and then you learned your lesson. It's the same thing when it comes to interviewing them. There's no excuse to allow them to push this message without challenging it. And this is one of the main reasons. Hey, Melanated High Priestess, this is one of the main reasons why I could not see myself having um a real interview type of exchange with them. While I would love to sit and talk with them, I know it would just be a bunch of bullshit. And it would, because and then they would probably get frustrated and not want to speak with me anymore, because I'm not gonna sit there and let you um try to talk circles around me and try to push bullshit on me or my audience. It's just it's just not gonna fly over here. So during the course of this interview, guys, Aya was stating how they are here as the example for the woman, not only of what being a woman is, but of how to be there for the man no matter how he goes in his expression, how no matter how he demonstrates his expression of manhood and masculinity, no matter how much abuse he bestows upon you, you're supposed to ride or die for this man. The same man, okay, in their case, the same man that participated in gay porn, stripping for men for money, preaching that transsexual women are the standard that black women should and do adhere to, and all the other deviant sexual behaviors for which, especially the one for which he's currently incarcerated. Now, you can believe that he did what he's being accused of or not. We have all heard him state out of his own mouth that, hey, sometimes, you gotta R word, your woman. You gotta be rough with her. You gotta spit on her and choke her and all these other sick things, when it comes to sex and um being intimate with a woman. And in carbonation, those things they consider that making love. They consider that to be a form of intimacy that others should subscribe to. It's sick. Leah goes on to state that she is nothing without Eligio. What man will she have to protect her and keep her safe when the sky falls? Chicken Little. These women act as if none of us women out here have men in our family that would literally protect us with everything in them if something like that were to happen. We come from tribes. Our families are our tribe. I have brothers, uncles, cousins. We all have brothers, uncles, and cousins, and fathers and grandfathers. Their whole message is just bullshit. If you have no male family members, that's one thing. You can still have friends, you can have acquaintances, you can have good, honest men out there that would protect a woman. And the world wouldn't have to ascend into a madhouse where, there's a bunch of uncivilized men running around trying to R word everybody and to claim any woman coming across their path as their property. It's stupid. And nobody challenges them. The people talking to them and interviewing don't challenge this stupidity. This is why, for me personally, I feel like I don't care how you get it, but educate yourself. I don't care if you go to school. I don't care if you go spend your days in a library reading books. I don't care if you spend your days on the internet, on Google, Wikipedia, whatever you choose to do. Just educate yourself. Learn critical thinking. That's a skill set that we can all learn and we can all and constantly improve upon because when you do that, this type of shit, you can challenge it easily. Everything that they push forth is literally elementary. It's elementary, right down to their version of quantum physics. It's all elementary. If everything is an illusion, then why are you guys pushing these theories so hard? Why does it matter? Why not just go live in the jungle and frolic about like some fucking fairies and be happy? Why are you guys so keen on everybody agreeing with your agenda? That's not how you live life. That's not the way to do it, especially when you are not sure that what you're saying is the honest truth. And I know in Nature Boy's case, he knows damn well that his agenda is fraudulent because his whole existence is fraudulent. It's fraud. You can't in one breath say that um, you know, no one should work because even in the biblical days, all throughout history, all throughout time, throughout every single civilization on earth, we have worked. And we might not call it work, we might have been doing things that we love to do, like, gardening and, hunting and, you know, uh, raising children, whatever it is, defending one's home, defending one's property, ruling, whatever. We have always worked. A society cannot function without there being resourceful people. So that just totally trumps their entire freaking ideology of, well, if nobody worked, everything would be better. No, it wouldn't, because there would be another resource to replace the resource that you guys want taken away so badly. They want money to be a thing of the past, and without the understanding that if money wasn't the resource, it would be something else. Because that's how societies work. Even in the Bible, it's like cattle, animals, precious metals, knowledge. Back then, knowledge was power. Knowledge was power. You know how many there was more illiterate people back then than there were people that could read and write. So the people that could read and write, the literate folk, they were the ones mostly, for the most part, in positions of power because they knew more than the rest of the populace. Knowledge is a resource. Anything could be a resource. And so these individuals, they have zero critical thinking. Their critical thinking skills are on a scale of 1 to 10. It's a negative zero. Okay. They think that their foundation is so strong and that they stand on morals and principles. But all that we've seen happen to them is them being exploited. Everyone around Nature Boy has been exploited for his own enjoyment since he started this journey, since he literally ran away from Babylon because he was facing 20 years in prison for abusing his son's mother, Maisha, to the point where, I mean, he could have damn near disfigured her face, and he did do so for a good 6 months, probably longer. So this man escaped justice by manipulating his baby's mom to take some responsibility for the condition that he put her in, where he's facing 20 years in prison in Georgia. So everything comes full circle. Karma's always going to come back. You manipulated her into convincing the judge and to drop the charge, the DA to drop the charges, which they did. And then you ran off into the jungle because you knew that you were uncivilized. You knew that you couldn't hack it amongst the populace. And we saw that, when he was getting denied entry into restaurants. That's one thing I'll give him a little bit of credit for, is the fact that he knew that he couldn't hack it, amongst just regular society. So he tried to escape to the jungle, live in the jungle. But then, even then, he gets online and says the most inappropriate things, the most shocking, disgusting things, and then wonders why people react the way that they react. Just the lack of awareness is astounding. And we see that amongst everybody who is still caping hard for Eligio and still in that cult. Exactly. At Adilax, he wasn't even, he was in the jungle at one point, but even then, he wasn't really living in the jungle. It was always some Airbnb at the top of the mountain, in the middle of the forest, and here, there, everywhere. You were always still trying to live in some type of luxury and claiming you were living in the jungle. Fraud. It's just complete fraud. He's a fraud all around. And that's why your kingdom failed, because you're fraudulent, you're a liar, you're a manipulator, you're full of shit, and you're not a good person. Malia is really feeling herself right now. And she's really feeling herself in a way that we never saw before, because he's in prison. He's in jail right now. So she's found her voice, and that's, she doesn't even realize that these ladies are so lost in the sauce, they don't even realize that they feeling a sense of power right now, that they never had before. They're not worried about him telling one of them to slap the mess out of one of the others for doing the wrong thing, for saying the wrong thing, for bending the wrong knee, for not standing to attention at the right time. It's unbelievable. And this is what happens when you don't have your own mind. And so they're willingly crippling their own selves, because these women do have at least I will say Afro and Zoka do have the capacity to to seek higher education, and probably to succeed in that environment if they wanted to. But they've allowed themselves to be taken down a road of I won't even say a road, just down the highway to hell, basically. Malia talks about how much change they want to bring to the world. while failing to talk about how much change that Nature Boy brought into her life, and how he, as a 22-year-old woman, this woman was dealing with things that, I mean, most women uh, her age and up have probably never even dealt with. I mean, how many people do you know personally that have been abused so heavily that they, had to be rushed to the hospital, have fluid drain from around their heart, having abscesses in their organs, and organs rearranged to the point that you have to lie to the doctors and say that you were in a car accident because that's how hard you were hit. Your fellow cult members were saying what happened to you. You were kicked in your side, your stomach, you were beaten with a belt for for a minute straight until you running out of the house butt naked. I basically wanted to do this live because I want to counter, get just at least put out a little bit of information to counter what was said in that live, and point out what's really going on in carbonation. I think it's important to do that. And that's why I do appreciate the comments on some of these videos, so that when people do come in and watch these videos and they might not know what's going on, they can see from the comments, and people who have followed this cult and who know what the real is. You can highlight those things because those things are important. You can go watch my Surviving Nature Boy video to see all of the stories of all the people, and that's not even a half of the people that have come and gone through carbonation, that have a story to tell, and not a good one, about how they came and went. How most of them had to sneak away in the middle of the night. If this is a good place to be, you don't have to sneak away in the middle of the night. You don't have to feel trapped. You don't. What has carbonation created that is sustainable since Eligio has gone on his spiritual journey and became a cult leader? Can anyone in the chat, can y'all help me? What have they created that's sustainable? Nothing. Laziness, scams, fraud, begging, lying, stealing, abusing each other, trauma. Exactly. They and it's like, I don't forget that they're victims as well, but they've also victimized themselves. They victimized each other. And we got to see that in clear and plain as day. I can't even play some of the videos on my YouTube anymore because YouTube is now being more stringent with the type of things that are shown. So I could get away with showing some of the abuse, verbal abuse. Even my channel was strict, was received a strike from YouTube for the um Efferu rant that Nature Boy went on. Whereas a year ago, I could have had that video up there. Nothing ever happened, which is great that they're moderating. So I'm not mad at that, but it's selective. It's selective moderation, and that's what's a little irritating. But basically, they've created nothing sustainable. They haven't even grown a fucking apple tree. Okay, guys, they haven't even grown an apple tree. They haven't even grown. Mrs. T was saying earlier, one of the They haven't grown anything. They haven't create there's a lot of cults out there who have, bad like even the Jim Jones cult. Now this guy went completely crazy, okay? And he basically he would turn into a murderous cult leader. But even they built a community, a sustainable at the time, if the intentions were good and the power wasn't corrupt and toxic. They were building what could be considered at the time a sustainable community. Eligio hasn't even done that. I think the only thing that they have grown is toxicity. They've grown a following based on hopes and dreams. That is it. He has created people who literally have such a disdain for making a decent and an honest living that they are upset at us, at people who actually work for a living, people who actually are honest in their endeavors every single day, people that actually take care of their children. This man is upset at women for choosing their children over him. Not a single leaf, loco. Not even a freaking blade of grass. It is unbelievable. Completely. Hopes and dreams. That's it. Hopes and dreams. And I was thinking that, when he first went in, when he first was locked up, had all of those ladies gotten a job at the Walmart that they talk so against all the time, or the McDonald's or the Burger King? Because I mean, I guess that's all that they can aspire to working at, which I don't understand that. I mean, I know just within my subscriber base, I know that a lot of you are um hardworking individuals. You work every day. Some of you may not, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're not begging and lying and scamming people to get by, but I know that we all come from different walks of life. We're all in different sectors of the job world. We are some of us are, college educated, some of us are not, some of us, work in, construction, corporate, education, um, for the government, social services, all walks of life, homeowners, exactly. And it's as if they can't see past that because, and Eligio always tries to say how, he's had this and he's had that. I had my barber shop and, oh, I manifested that with my mind. You are damn lie, because what he did was, I'm sure he manifested the money from one of his clients. Okay, one of his gay male clients at the time. But he doesn't want to tell that part of the story. Who gave you that money? One of your clients gave you that money. Okay, so why the lies and the bullshit and the rhetoric? You can go a lot longer way with just honesty and integrity, which he lacks. Yeah, he probably did voice of clarity. Rocky, you just gave up on everybody, huh? Right. He sold his body to get ahead. You sold your body and then you turned around and exploited everybody who came up under you and tried to join you. And the sad part about it is something that I've noticed even with some of the ex-members that haven't that vacated him, that have vacated carbonation for years now. They're even, and I don't know if there's a sense of shame there, embarrassment, but sometimes it's like they still kind of try to hold on to what they thought they had at one time. Well, we thought it was this and we thought it was that, when you didn't do your due diligence to really understand who it was you were following, because I know, and a lot of people talk about this, and this is just the truth. It's like when we all heard that video from him and Bailey's talking about how he has to be naked in front of children and how he let his son play with him. How is that not the number one red flag for everybody? Why would you want to follow behind somebody who would allow that and not say, you know what? I don't need to be naked in front of nobody's kids. That's okay. I don't, that's not even appropriate to say. I don't live in a nudist colony. I don't, because even people who live in nudist colonies, they're not that adamant about that. They're not that, they don't need everybody to agree with that. They just off in their colony living their life and doing their thing. And we don't have to hear about that or see that. But you just had to let everybody know that. Why? People like Eligio are dangerous because they want everybody else to be as deviant as they are. And this is what he did. He kept pushing, pushing to see how far he could go, to see how much he could get away with. And he thought he was going to get away with it all. He decided that he was, not only am I Jesus, but I'm God now. But not only am I Jesus and I'm God, but I'm also the devil. So I'm Jesus, God, and the devil. I'm the Holy Trinity Ghost of this world. Idiot. Complete idiot. And I say that, simply because that's what he really just, that's what he became. I'm not going to say he was always that, but that's absolutely what he became. And um, he has led so many people astray. And it's so sad. I do feel sorry for some of the ex-members, because I do know that they really did go into it with pure intentions. But once you woke up and once you understood, what you were a part of and who this individual was that you thought you loved and you thought loved you, once you woke up and realized that this man doesn't love anybody but himself, it's okay to just be like, damn. Because when we go through stuff in life and it's not all good, we've all been there. I've been there. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I'm better than anybody. I've been there. I've made mistakes that I look back with a lot of regret, like, damn, I should have never done that. I went through a public embarrassment myself, something that I never thought that I would have to ever deal with. And I got through it, and I came out of it because I went into it humble and I came out of it still humble. But I'm not going to sit up here and try to act like, oh, I'm this and that and the other. No, I made a mistake. I fucked up. It's okay to say that. And that's one of the things about some of the ex-members, that sometimes I'm just like, why don't y'all just be like, damn, we fucked up. We thought he was something and he wasn't. He what did he teach you? And then, the main thing that they always say is knowledge of self. Knowledge of self. Why would you need somebody like that to teach you knowledge of self? Knowledge of self should come from within. Period. Exactly, King Me. He's blown through hundreds of thousands of dollars. Man has nothing to show for it. Nothing. And then, Adelex, at some point, when you realize that you're being exploited, there's a choice that you can make. And I used to be one of those types that would say, I tried really hard, for the longest time. I would be like, you know what? I feel so bad for them because, they are being exploited. But then it's like, okay, the ones that understood this, they understood that assignment. Like, you got folks like Lola who realized like early on that, you know what, this is not for me. Let me get away. This woman had to sneak away in the middle of the night. Um, you have some of the people, some of the earlier on people who were just not really feeling it, because joining carbonation means that, he really did want everybody to embody that one mind, one self. If you weren't if you weren't doing what everybody else was doing, you stood out, and you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it here. So any alpha male that went over there, it was a wrap. If he wasn't doing and falling in line and doing what everybody else was doing, he had to go, and he would create, scenarios whereas that would eventually happen. And that's another thing. I said I wasn't really going to say much about the interviewer, but I will say this one thing. One thing that I did notice about Crumb TV is that, I and I some of the if there are any men in the audience, can you guys block this guy? Let me block him actually. If there are any men in the chat, guys, if you reach out, the interview, and you kind of like, watch a little bit on TV, I kind of see him as being the alpha male type. Um, and this is no offense whatsoever to him. This is just a honest observation that I didn't see an alpha male. And a lot of these guys that look up to Eligio, they do not, um, they're not alpha males either. They're literally men looking for someone to lead them instead of learning how to be a leader themselves. Uh-oh. Okay, guys, let me come out and act in. Is that better, guys? I don't know why it's breaking up. Is that better? Am I still sounding like a robot? If so, I'll like a refresh. Can can y'all hear me now? Is that better? Yay. Okay. So yeah, it's just sad. It's sad to me. I was just thinking that when I was watching, I was like, damn, I can see why Crumb is kind of just like hyping them up, and, willing to really look past all of Eligio's discretions. It's like, how can you really care about your community? How can you truly care about women and men and children when you willingly and purposefully will just ignore all of the disingenuous and total lack of integrity that you've seen take place over the years? How can women who have left their black male sons behind be held up to the standard? They are not the standard. They're not the standard. How could they be the standard? What can they what can they show good women who love their families and who love their children and who would never leave? I couldn't even imagine leaving my child. Could y'all? Because it's absolutely astounding to me that, we're now praising child abandonment. We're praising fraud. We're praising um just complete nothingness. Yeah, Keita, I was thinking that the other day. I was thinking that I was telling myself just the other day, I'm like, carbonation was one big group home. And then I was like, nah, it was actually a big orphanage, to be honest with you. Um, hey Nicole, one big orphanage, completely. Not even something that you could be proud of. And it's like it can't just be I'm learning knowledge of self when you're literally leaving behind living, breathing little human beings that you created. And now other people have to take responsibility for them. Thankfully, that you have other people, good people in your life that can take responsibility for them. You wouldn't leave your plants. I know that's right, love, son. Um, but yeah, it's like we can't put people like this on a pedestal. We can't do it. You have to hold people like this accountable. When they start pushing a different message, then you can say, "Okay, hey, you learned this is what life is about. Learning lessons and then moving on. Learning lessons and moving on." We've seen many ex-carbonation member, ex-melanation member live their life in a manner where they are not still praising these fraudulent experiences that they had, but instead they're saying, you know what, this was part of my life's journey. I learned my lesson, because we all go through it. It's not like I said before, I'm not better than anybody else, but I'm better than Eligio. We all are. Everybody in this chat. Some people, you just are. I'm sorry, but I'm not saying I'm better than any of them. I'm just saying it sometimes things are what they are. They are what they are. Exactly. They don't want to face responsibility. They want to stand on some fake ass morals and principles that are literally immoral, unprincipled, despicable behavior. Period. And what it is when you're in a group, mentality like that, where you're being praised for doing something that you know deep down is wrong. You know deep down it's wrong. You know it was wrong to leave your children. But Eligio's praising you for that. And the whole rest of the group is saying, yeah, you did the right thing. They're on their own journey. You're wrong. But because you got a group of people praising you for doing it, you're gonna pretend that it's okay. What kind of integrity is that? That's just, yeah, it's bogus. It's bogus. Hey, organic juice. I appreciate that. I think we all are, because I'm just glad that we understand what it is that we're looking at, what it is that has been trying to be perpetrated upon our community. Um, there is a conscious community out here, and I know that I always kind of look at it as like, man, the Black conscious community is really something else. But I think really the conscious community is us, because we hold each other accountable. We hold ourselves accountable. And that's really what the conscious community is all about. They can't own that. They can't take that. It's like we are that community. We're really awake here, because you have to live in reality. I know sometimes they say, when you're dealing with the Romans, you give Caesar his due, basically whatever that saying is. It escapes me at the moment. But it's like, so you do that in one instance, but in the other instance it's like, you know well, we're just going to squat in this house and not pay rent, and then act like, we know we didn't pay rent, and we know we were properly served, because he's been talking about how they were evicted for over a month. But y'all just gonna lie on the paperwork. These people live in a state of just false, messed up, just the lack of the lack of reality. And I know that they know what's really going on. They're just a bunch of liars, and that's really at the crux of it, is that they're okay with lying and defrauding people and abusing each other. Y'all are okay with that. I really wonder how long they've been doing that to each other. We all saw the fight on the beach between Malia and Delvid, but I'm wondering, and I'm thinking back now, how long have you guys been putting hands on each other? How long have that been going on? We only got to see it within the final weeks leading up to his arrest, but just imagine how long that had been happening. These people were slapping the shit out of each other. And I, feel some of these women are very lucky that they did not they weren't included in some of the charges that were pressed against Eligio, because they do have, quote unquote love for each other. But it's all fake love. No, I haven't, Nicole. I know that she's on her grind and she's doing really well, and I hope that she continues doing well and just, improving herself. That's what I hope. Exactly, Raina. They have not sustained anything. They have sustained no way of life, no way of living. What money? Where is the money? Where's the money? You know he's not taking care of his children, because if you can't even pay rent, how are you caring for your children financially? You're not caring for your children either, and it's sad, because I know that his children's mothers, would want him, would want that father figure in his life. And I know, like his son Osiris, we've all seen how much love and adoration and admiration he has for his father, but also type of man that is actually dangerous around children, because he literally has no he's immoral. He's deviant. He has no integrity. He's a possessor. He only appreciates possessing things and people. You're my property. I own you. I own my baby moms. I own my children. Now I love them. I care for them. I cherish them. They're my treasures. It's just all warped. It's all warped with him. And so it's sad. Yep, you're right, melanated. But I'm weighing my words carefully here. As you probably know. You know how I'm trying. I'm trying. But yeah, wifey, I really think he is. I mean, he's literally said that himself. I don't like to diagnose people because I don't have a degree, whereas I can do that. I do have a degree, but I don't have a degree where I can actually diagnose people. But he has said it himself. He's self-diagnosed himself as not only a narcissist, but also with bipolar. He said he was diagnosed with that and whatever else he has. Yeah, he is a very smart kid, and I feel for him as well. I feel for his mom. I know that she's probably going through it right now, because his father is in a place where no one wants to see their parent. No one wants to see their parent incarcerated. But fortunately, Eligio deserves to be incarcerated. He has gotten away with a lot for a long time, and chicken's coming home to roost. Unfortunately for someone like him, he is really not going to learn his lesson in the way that most normal people do. He's going to flip it and spin it and use it to his advantage, because he has to use every little thing that happens in his life to either, try to come up with some new theory or come up with some new reason or rhyme or rhythm as to why he's going through what he's going through. And oh, the Christ went through this and that. It's like, why are you always trying to throw Jesus Christ under the bus? Now, whether you believe or not, we can all read the stories in the Bible and see clearly that Jesus was beloved. There was a group of people, that didn't agree with what his ideology was at the time, because of very laid out reasons why, but he was obviously beloved. I mean, his story has lived on throughout the ages, and so for him to compare himself is just blasphemy. It's completely blasphemous. It's just sick. But y'all, I wanted to yeah, I'm sure he is deleting comments. And that's why I didn't want to play any of the interview on my channel, because I don't want him to try to strike my channel. But I did want to put his channel and at least his channel name in the title so that people know what I'm referencing. So if they do go over there and look at it, they can come over here and see what the real was. If these women abandoned children, they have literally nothing to their name. They own nothing. The only thing they own, sadly, is Eligio's mind. They have let this man's mind permeate their own. So they have nothing. Maybe a rented car, some fake jewelry, whatever clothes he left behind. They have nothing tangible, nothing sustainable. They have no um they have no recurring income. All they know how to do is ask and beg for money for whatever it is that they need. Once they finally get kicked out of this home, they're going to go and ask to live in somebody else's home and possibly take that over. Um, they have nothing. And it's just sad because these are women, these women can actually do something with their life. They can do something in that circle that they have. Afro's industrious to an extent. She can make things. She can make products, what she was doing before she joined the cult. Um, Aya, I'm not really sure. Zoka, I know that she, has some artistic talents there, but they have fostered nothing amongst their own selves. They're so thirsty to have this group mentality that they haven't fostered their own individuality. That is so dangerous for a woman. And I just, I mean, it's sad. It's sad. And I hope no young girls look up to them in any way, shape, or form. And if they do, I hope they stumble across, some content creators like myself and others who talk about this cult and express the truth about them, and to see, what's really going on there, and that they really need to aspire to educate themselves, to really, create a life for themselves where whoever they decide to be with, once they're ready to take those next steps, will be proud to have them by their sides, and be proud to, have them contribute to a quality way of life for them and their partner. It is very dangerous to say, oh no, I'm going to take on your mind, you think for me. Because look at Eligio, he's in jail, and they're sitting out here going on doing interviews to try to collect funds for him. And this is why he's allowing them to do this. He's allowing Isn't it interesting how he's allowing them to do interviews with men? Because he knows the men are going to tune in to these interviews and look at them and look at their looks, and see past the real, and possibly send them donations. They're not even using True's Cash App. They're using Aya's Cash App. See, they're slick, but they're not slick enough. You're not that slick. It's not that slick. And that's why I felt the need to speak on that interview, because I felt that it was just completely misleading. It's wrong. It's fraudulent, and it's just willfully ignorant to conduct interviews in that manner, and to really not point out what's really going on as a whole there. We're not going to sit up here talking about quantum physics and the holographic universe without talking about why have y'all been slapping each other in the face, in the mouth? Why do y'all encourage people not to work, and yet you ask those people for donations? Why are you doing this? It's wrong. And so that's really what I had to say. That's all I really had to say about it. I was gonna play some of the audio from the interview. I don't even want to do that because I don't I don't even think I can stomach hearing the bullshit. I really, all they talked about really was how the black man was God and how, without the black man, the black woman is nothing and she'll never be anything and she'll never subscribe to anything, which we all know. This is why it's so important to kind of have a really, you don't even have to have that firm of a grasp on history, but you do need to understand your history, and you do need to understand that all throughout the ages, women have played just as an important role in the advancement of civilization as have men. We all play our part. We all do. We can even look back to the days of slavery to see that it wasn't just the men working the fields, it was the women and the children as well. I mean, everybody was doing their part to survive. And that's just something that we really need to keep in mind, and not fall victim to this sounds good but it's really unrealistic bullshit that these cult leader um misogynistic men like Eligio try to put out, and act like all women are just stupid and will fall for the okey doke, because it's just not the case. We're not all going to fall for that okey doke, and we just have to stay vigilant, really. And the men out here that are calling Eligio out, I do appreciate you guys very much, because it I see how hard that is for guys to do that. Sometimes it's like you might hear something good like, oh, the black woman is God, and oh, the black man is God, and it sounds good, but come on, is that real? Like, can I can I walk on water? Like, really, can I do that right now? Can I raise myself from the dead and my deceased loved ones? No, I can't do that. Now, there are those of us that can perform miracles sometimes, and that have special abilities where we can do things that we were blessed with, but we need to still carry ourselves with a modicum of humility and compassion and love and understanding, which I feel like we've all had for most of the members of Carbonation over the years. Tons of compassion, tons of understanding and sorrow for them for the most part. But there comes a time when you really do have to also express tough love and really just tell it like it is. Really need to tell it like it is, because they will keep on perpetrating the BS to each and every audience that they can. And if it goes unchallenged or unquestioned, then it's more dangerous mindsets that are being planted. Those seeds are being planted in the minds of people. And then the men who fall victim to this is these they're just proving how weak they are. Like, you guys are weak. You guys look at a pretty face, and that's all it takes for you. You don't care that the woman that you're looking at and that you're lusting after has abandoned her child. She didn't even look back. Like, come on. What kind of man would want a woman like that? And a moral one. Like Nature Boy said to True, if that was my son, I would pay way more attention to him. That's what he said to you. So that just goes to show you how weak-minded these guys are, and they need a lot of help. So, with that said, I'm about to go ahead and take it down, guys. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight and hearing what I have to say, what my thoughts are on this. If anybody want to come up and share their thoughts, you guys are welcome to. If not, I'm gonna Take it down. Yeah, they would never agree to that, Miss Latan, because I'm coming with the real. Okay, I'm coming with the real, real. Y'all, before I go though, I want to read to y'all. I want to read to y'all a little poem that I wrote. Um, I wrote this poem a while ago. I'm gonna end it on this note because this is something that I wrote a little while ago, but I think it still actually applies. And I think this is just for this for our community as a whole. I just wanted to really do something a little bit uplifting before I end this. Um, and I do want to appreciate you guys for being here tonight. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Um, every time I do a live, I'm a little bit more encouraged to share my thoughts. And I thank you guys for listening and for appreciating um, what I have to say. Anyway, I call this question everything, guys. I am lighting Roman candles for the Black people of America, lying on beds made of a fabric of a time lined with hysteria. People take what they see as an eye for an eye, but refuse to see the media regurgitate lie after lie. So the fear is misplaced as they shapeshift before our eyes. I have my notebook and I'm sifting through it. I felt enough suppressed Black power to know white supremacy won't stop trying to. We built up Black Wall Street, the government bombed that same street, gave us economic unrest and fabricated basic needs as greed. Then switched it up and gave home loans, though predatory in nature, they did hone in on us and spit on us with insults and life lessons fueled by the deaths of our predecessors. Our ancestors knew better, but the younger generation couldn't weather. Storm after storm before those blue skies would make it better. Gave us the blueprint to prevent real progress through grassroots movements secretly meant to stop us. No advancement meant more lost ones. Stay asleep, my sweet babies, as you lost ones do cost us. I've heard the stories of those who were here before me, how the look of fear in the eyes of a scared cop don't distort me, to the look of fear in the eyes of my own kind and why less violence is not resorting, how affirmative action is unlikely to result in me receiving a handout, reject that political correctness that's been benefiting women, WASps, for years now. How I can't even relax on a beautiful day, too busy researching and studying and uncovering buried truth in the rabbit maze. Down many rabbit holes I've gazed and sank and swim and then been saved. I soaked up the thoughts of my higher self like the sun's rays and reeled in truth like runaway slaves. I was Harriet Tubman in my own way, come to lead my extended family to safety, but come morning, they're still asleep. So I awaken them with a conscious thought, but they don't want any grace saving. They want back the metal chains that were formerly placed around Black babies with thrown away locks. For it is time to sun gaze and make way for the future. That's what we're here for, to save ourselves and uplift the youthful. They are afraid of you because they know certain truths, like all the opportunities you don't pursue and the downward spiral of our youth. They are afraid of me because I am teaching tools through storytelling and dispelling history's roots. The United States of America is a corporation. It's true, you know. Never fully trust anyone but the higher you. You better hear me though. Your third eye sees all you do and don't do, still enslaved by those who claim to have saved us from slavery's rule. Funny liberals with their reverse psychologies and multiple college degrees. They swap stories throughout history to confuse and diffuse what you now believe. Everything you think you know needs to be questioned and proven true, and then audited and questioned again because the conquered people do not contribute to the history books, that is. You aren't truly free until you start to question everything. And you best start shoveling. You dig? The end. Thank you for listening. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you. I'm wishing you all a wonderful evening, a wonderful week. We'll probably go. We'll next time see you guys in the live, and hopefully we Have another wonderful discussion. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you to my mods. I really appreciate you guys very much. Thank you to my day ones. Um, I love and appreciate you all. Special shout out and love to Mrs. T. Thanks for being here and sitting in the bushes quietly. Bailey, Ash, Berta, Carla, Supreme, all y'all. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful night, beautiful people. I thank you. And I will see you soon, guys. Until next time. Peace and love.